Okay, here goes. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the podcast. So, if you've been following along, you probably know what's up. But for those of you that don't, oh, man, this is going terribly. I posted an excerpt from my journal last week. Yes, I journal by speaking. For me, it's the only way I'm honest. It's too easy to lie when you're writing. Back on track. The podcast. I'm writing a book where I interview supervillains. I know it sounds crazy. I've been at it for a couple months now, and it still sounds crazy, but I'm doing it. The book is called To Prove a Villain, and it's coming out this fall. I'll tell you once they tell me. The title's a quote from Shakespeare. It was the publishing company's idea. I wanted it to be Talking with Evil, but apparently that's the name of Jack Ryder's next book, so, great minds, right? As you can tell, I'm not great at the social media thing. I don't have a Twitter or show up on Facebook. I've been immersed in academia, and that whole movement kind of passed me by, but they say that this is a big thing when it comes to books these days. You can't just sell paper copies, you have to sell the whole package. They wanted to do a real polished version, but I insisted I could do it myself, and I know I'm really nailing it. But this is my book, and these are my interviews, so this is me, warts and stumbling over words and all. But let's get down to business. In order to do a book about villains, you have to go where the villains are. Prison. I started writing letters to places like Strikers Island, Arkham Asylum, Belle Reve. Yeah, I know. But trust me, people are more likely to actually read a letter in the mail where they can't just, click delete. It's weird, but it works. I also called and emailed, but it was a letter that got a response. Take that, social media. So it was the new warden at Iron Heights. They'd gotten a bad rep from the old warden, a Mr. Wolf, and they were trying to change their image. She thought this might be good PR, and it was certainly good for me. I put in requests to talk to inmates. I sent messages, gifts. For weeks I came to the prison day after day, always going home disappointed. But then one day, it all changed. I got a yes, and what a yes it was. Leonard Snart, Captain Cold, leader of the Rogues, had agreed to a meeting. I couldn't believe it. The prison set up the rules. I could only bring in my recorder, and only ones that had been, inspected and approved. It's an old analog model, so sorry for the sound quality. And I only had a couple of minutes, and they could choose to cut me off whenever they wanted. And I think that gets you up to speed. So here's my interview with Captain Cold, straight from Iron Heights Prison.
Mr. Snart, thank you for agreeing to see me.
Let's cut to the chase. What do you want to know?
Excuse me?
Look, miss, while I'd love nothing more than to be out of the stir and chatting with you for an hour, you've been granted all of 3 minutes, so make the most of them.
Oh, okay, yes. Well, I have a whole series of questions, mostly about your childhood.
No, I'm not interested. Move on.
Okay, right. Well then, let's get right to it. Why do you do it?
Do what?
Commit crime, dress up in a parka and shoot a cold gun, fight the Flash.
Well, how else would I spend my weekends?
You're a smart man, Mr. Snart. Brilliant, some would say, but you still choose to commit crimes. Why?
Look, your basic premise is flawed.
What do you mean?
Oh, for the book. Well, that's what you're writing, correct? A sizzling expose of the worst of humanity? We who revel in evil, villains of the world. Your perspective is incorrect, though.
Okay, well, then enlighten me.
I expect you had it good. Understanding parents, quality school, solid grades, but never top of your class. Had to grab a lot of student loans, which you are still paying off. But overall, things worked out.
You don't know me.
I don't need to. I know your type. You think things are fair? The system plays everyone straight. But you're wrong. I'm a bad guy? Okay, I'll take that. Because good is defending a system slanted bent towards the rich and powerful, hoarding over the poor serfs who do their bidding. Those loans, who do you think are paying every month? Not the government. The same people who own the banks I rob, who get those fat checks from the insurance company when my rogues and I walk off with a painting.
Okay, so you're a freedom fighter, a Robin Hood for the modern age.
Robin Hood. Well, you got it half right. No one was ever going to give me anything. The system works for the go-along, get-along crowd. That would never have been me, regardless of the coal gun or the flash.
Well, what about the family business?
Oh, you're alluding to my father. Maybe, but not in the way you are thinking. My father was small time, always looking for the one big score and spending all that time under the thumb of one lousy crime boss or another.
And that wasn't going to be you?
No, I'm not much of a following orders type. Plus, I wanted people to know my name. I know your angle is all about the costumes, the colorful names, but I was already somebody before I put on the parka. You want something to write about? That's a good place to start.
Mr. Snart.
Miss Leonard, please. And the appearance of the large uniformed man in the room tells us our time here is just about up.
Well, about your child.
Which one?
All of them. Every time you've been arrested, you defended yourself and always pled guilty.
Oh, don't do the crime if you can't do the time.
Yes, but they say if you ask them. A prison is full of innocent men, but not you?
No, not me. If I was stupid or slow enough to get caught, I deserve it. Well, that's not to say I agreed to serve out my whole sentence. Oh, looky there. That's my time.
But please, I have so many questions. Could I meet with you again?
Sorry, this was one and done. But I'll tell you what. I'll put a good word in with my sister. Chances are you'll get a much different set of answers from her. Good day, miss. It's nice to spend time in the presence of a pretty lady, no matter how brief.
Legible Scrawl presents To Prove a Villain, Episode 1, Captain Cold, written by Kyle Olson, performed by Shannon Jelly and Scott Harris, produced by Ryan Fitzpatrick and Shannon Jelly. Follow us on Twitter at Legible Scrawl, check out our Facebook page, or drop by our website, legiblescrawl.com, where we do cool things and answer the important questions, like what would happen if a struggling psychology major interviewed DC villains? You're welcome.